In a world where mediocrity is largely accepted, you'll see this everywhere in social media, you'll see this in person, or even the people that you know. When you start to strive for more and try to achieve what you determine to be greatness, you'll get a lot of haters. And to be honest, you should be thankful. In this video, we're gonna cover what a hater is, why you should be happy about having haters, and 4 ways you can deal with them. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. All right, so first things first. When I think of a hater, I think of someone who is either friend or foe, family or not, and they have either backhanded compliments for you or they just generally hate your guts. And the reason for why they hate you could be a myriad of reasons. When you think about the internal complexities of a hater, you'll realize that a lot of how they feel about you is more so what they feel about themselves. And oftentimes you're a reflection of what they failed to do, which is live the life that they actually want to live. So with that in mind, one thing I would definitely say is that when you consider a hater and you consider what they say to you, oftentimes you got to think about this as nothing more than just projection. You know, as spiritual as I am, and I try not to get into the woo-woo here on this channel, but often I think that we are a reflection of other people and vice versa. So whenever I hear a compliment or I hear something negative, I just think to myself that that person is simply complimenting themselves or berating themselves. Obviously, I'll take the compliment, of course, and you know, with the negativity, I'll ruminate on it for a little bit, but both of these things ultimately don't define who I am. So knowing what a hater is and what they do is good, but how do you identify a hater? How do you identify the person in your life that secretly hates your guts, even though they be smiling in your face? I had a friend, we'll just call him Jay for this video. I had a friend who was, I guess you could say for a lack of better words, was a sea hound. And when we were younger, you know, we would often hang out with the girls in our neighborhood and stuff. And although I was a chubby kid, I was very charismatic and people just naturally gravitated towards me. And thus, the girls that were on the block and in the neighborhood gravitated towards me as well. Now, granted, I didn't do anything with them. Obviously, I was like 12, 13 years old at the time. But that instance of just being social with women was something that bothered him to a degree I never realized until one day he started berating me in front of these people. And that's a small example of a much more complex situation. But as years went by and I would try things, you know, like I started making music, I started modeling, things of that nature, I would always get backhanded compliments by not just Jay, but just from my friends as well. And then one day it clicked in my head. I was like, well, if these people are my friends, would it make sense for them to constantly berate me? And would it make sense for them to constantly joke on me, even though at the end of each joke, there's always like oh, I'm just playing, stuff like that. You know, people are lying when they say, I'm just joking. Fellas, if there's anything I've learned in life, it's that whenever someone says a joke, there's always a little bit of truth within that joke itself. So you might take it lighthearted, but deep down inside, that person truthfully had something they wanted to say. They just sugarcoated it in the guise of a joke. Knowing all of this and knowing how haters act and considering that some of them could be your very friends, how do you deal with these haters, right? And this is the core of what I'm trying to say. There are 4 ways you could deal with haters. All of them are relatively positive. None of them are, you know, none of them are violent, or I'm not advising you take action or any sort of physical action against anybody. Please do not do that. There's no need for it. But I've got 4 ways you can deal with haters. And the very first one is acknowledge that you're actually doing pretty well. Think about it. If you don't have no haters, you ain't popping. If you don't have haters, if no one cares about what you're doing, truthfully, you're not doing it to the level that you could be doing it. And I would say, see haters as an opportunity to go further. You gotta make these people your fucking hate fuel. I'm not saying you have to live with resentment. You don't have to become like Anakin or anything and, you know, scream obscenities and say, I hate you every time you see them. But you gotta add these people to like a hater list. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to write out, you know, you can use a notepad or a piece of paper, whatever the case may be, your phone, whatever. Write out list of haters, or AKA hate fuel. Write down each person, and if they have a sentence that still lingers in your mind, you know, regarding what they said about you, write that down next to it as well. And now, obviously, if this is on your phone, keep it on your phone. If you wrote it down, feel free to put it on like your fridge or your workplace, wherever the case may be where you're gonna see it, and look at that list. And whenever you feel discouraged, or you feel like you're not doing the right things, or you feel like you're not going to reach your goals, or whatever the case may be, whenever you need a source of motivation, I want you to look at that list. Write out that hater list. I got about like 20, 22 people, fucking brands are included in that as well. And I use that as my source of motivation. I've even got YouTubers and like usernames on that list simply because between the grand spectrum of communication that is the internet and just life in general, you're gonna run into haters regardless if it's in person or if it's on the internet. So I would suggest keeping a list of haters, and you know, with that being said, acknowledge that you're doing well, like you're doing good. And think about it, like, have you ever seen a hater hating on somebody doing better than them? No, where the f they do that at? They don't do that. Someone who hates on you is not doing better than you. And with that, you have to acknowledge like, oh shit, I'm actually winning. Like, you're hating on me because I'm actually winning. You know, it's a beautiful thing once you're able to change your perspective on that. And then from there, you make those decisions and it drives you to go further with what you're doing. Now, the second way you can deal with haters is simply ignore them. You know, a lot of people on the internet that come across my content, some of them might consider me an incel or, you know, whatever they have to say. Recently, someone called me an ape, which I'll say this all the time. I think I'm a pretty good looking ape. But recently someone on YouTube commented, they called me an ape. Whatever, I'm not mad at it. I thought it was quite funny, but I blocked them. And I blocked them simply because you writing negative comments is a privilege for you. It's not a privilege for me. I don't know you, nor do I care about your opinion. However, you taking time out of your day to write to me in hopes that I respond to you would be a privilege. Think about it. Just imagine you wrote to one of your biggest YouTube stars, right? And you wrote this long message, could be long-winded, whatever the case may be, and they answer it. You're gonna be hyped. Whatever you're doing, you're gonna be on your phone, you'll see the notification, you're like, oh, so-and-so just hit me up. That's exactly what a hater wants. They want you to reply because your reply actually makes their day. So I give that to them. Just block them. And if they're in person, like let's say they're your friends or something, then ultimately you have to make a decision and determine whether this friend circle is worth your time, worth your emotions, worth your mental clarity, etc., etc. For me personally, I love my old friends. I love my bros. If you're watching this video, shout out to you. I hope you're doing well. But I couldn't continue to be in that friend group. There was a bunch of haters. There's a bunch of haters in that friend group. Like, regardless of how long you've known these people, at some point the facade will break down and you will see their true character. So with all that being said, consider who is an actual ally. And you should surround yourself around people who actually support you, people who actually care about your goals, and more importantly, people that will be excited for you. You need to surround yourself, case in point, with people that essentially are doing a lot better than you. And the only reason why I say that is because those people aren't going to hate on you. Now, obviously, if you have someone successful who's hating on you and, you know, they're doing way better than you, it would be kind of odd, but it's also a plausibility too. I mean, humans, regardless of social status, we're all fallible creatures, right? So granted, someone is going to hate you, but more times than not, people that are doing better than you are going to be preoccupied with what they're doing. So therefore, they're not going to waste time hating on you. Will they have a comment or remark for something you said or did? Yeah, sure, whatever. But the odds of it coming from a place of jealousy or projection is going to be pretty slim. And the fourth thing you can do with haters, much like I said in the beginning, but the fourth thing you could do is acknowledge that you're doing something well and ultimately keep doing it. If you want to keep an open window or an open door for haters and, you know, just allow people to express how they feel about you regardless of circumstance, then by all means, I encourage you to do that. And in some cases, I do that as well. I don't block every single hater that's on YouTube. I let you watch because for some of you, and this is specifically to y'all haters that I have not blocked, but for some reason, y'all keep coming back to watch my content. Someone recently mentioned that my content was subpar, which I take into consideration because I want to make quality content, but someone mentioned that my content was subpar, which is fine. But I noticed this person has also commented on videos that they didn't find to be subpar. So I find it kind of ironic that someone would go out of their way to say my content sucks, meanwhile you watch it. You hear what I'm saying now? Ultimately, there is no hater out there that is doing better than you, whether that be financially, physically, emotionally, or socially, whatever the case may be. They're not doing better than you in a particular area, therefore, you are a reflection of their f***s. And that's okay. Sometimes it is what it is. You know, people are going to see you in life, especially if you're an attractive male. If you're an attractive male, just be ready for all the hate. But some people just live to hate. you know, and some people just can't get off the starting block, which is unfortunate for them, but that's not the case for you. And with all things considered, you just have to leave them be, you know, like the best thing you can do for someone like that, when you see someone who is hating on you for no reason at all, or for a reason, whatever the case may be, give them grace. And I say give them grace not from a perspective of, oh, I'm better than you. I mean, technically, yes, you are better than them, but you have to give them grace in a sense that they're human, you know, and humans, like I said before, are fallible creatures. And with that being said, once you're able to disseminate and understand people's perspectives, whether that be a hater, supporter, whatever the case may be, you know how to move around those people. You know how to engage with those people, so on and so forth. So those are just some things I think you should keep in mind. But here's a question for you. How else do you manage haters or interact with them? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate your engagement. I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to come here and watch these videos. We are back in action, baby. I had a lot of things that I was doing in my personal life. I had to clear out some of my schedule, but we are back. We'll have the consultation links coming soon if that's something you're interested in regards to self-development. And that's pretty much it, fellas. Once again, thanks for watching. Share this with a homie if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe to my and I will see you in the next one. Peace.